For many of us, an online persona named Jeffree Star was the first true internet celebrity we had ever become aware of, as the androgynous-looking, foul-mouthed bubblegum punk who began posting their editorial photos on MySpace in the early thousands, over 2 decades ago. And it's no small feat that Jeffree Star has remained relevant as the social media landscape has evolved, marching steadily onwards through the MySpace to Facebook industrial revolution, the Instagram YouTube age of enlightenment, and now into the TikTok post-apocalypse, a noisy and crowded bazaar where each dark, winding corridor brings with it new shady characters that use slick illusions to trick you into buying their knickknacks, and where a chance encounter can thrust 2 perfect strangers into a torrid romance, before revealing itself to be yet another illusion. And the dreamy Texan in a cowboy hat that got you to DM him your darkest secrets turns out to just be a 10-year-old friend of your little cousin, who took a bet to see if she could make me cry on Christmas Eve. Well, joke's on you, Riley. I was already planning to cry on that night. But Jeffree is shedding no tears, as his online career continues to flourish with Gen Z, who are so socially conscious that no politically incorrect mistake is too minor to be made into a federal case, unless it's the literal hate crimes of their favorite old person influencer, as long as those events occurred before the advent of Gen Z social justice, which took place years ago on a sacred birthday when the first kid in their class was given an iPod Touch. And now that their eyes are open, it puts Jeffree Star in a tough spot, having to digitally panhandle in the wild, wild west that is TikTok Live. This is the most real-time, unfiltered medium that Jeffree Star has ever used to try and snatch the thousands of hard-earned dollars out of the hands of people half his age. And over the last year of watching Jeffree go live, we've gotten several reminders that this is a man who's not quite ready for the home shopping network. Today, we're taking on every screaming match, scary threat, and stuttering excuse that had Jeffree Star's unedited ass on full display, while he went on TikTok to beg for digital gifts from people who are happy to help support his new career development as a daily waste of time. So tap me some roses as we get ready to explore the $20 cartoon galaxy that resides within the pale, angular skull of Jeffree Star in today's Too Talkative for TikTok installment of Clip Breakdown. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, and other such content here on the web. And we break it down like the preteens do to me in the comments of my TikTok, where apparently it's not cool to call Kim Kardashian a dumb but what do you want? I'm just kidding, I didn't say that about her. I gave some constructive feedback, God forbid, so that we can look at each individual criticism and comment and decide if it's really valid feedback and necessary or should be said, or if it's just misogyny, heterophobia, and other words that we are happy to throw in your face. But listen, I'm not saying I'm against social justice, I'm actually for it, okay? I just don't like annoying shit. When it's done annoyingly, you can say people are wrong, but just not me. That's the real crux of it, I think. But before we develop that idea, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week. Roughly, I do it roughly. Most importantly though, if you're new here, I would love to have you click that subscribe button. I'm really trying to repair my algorithm treatment these days because mama, they're not suggesting my videos to as many of my subscribers as I would like, and I would like if we could change that. So click subscribe if you want to, and now we go into the video. I've got merch and a Patreon where you can access exclusive bonus watch parties and virtual It's gotten really hot in here in the last few seconds. Anyway, everybody needs to know Jeffree Star, he's not quitting social media like we talked about a year ago when he made a video with Shane Dawson saying he just was like gonna go live on his ranch and mind his own business following his divorce and following, I don't know, pretty steady decline, I would say, in the popularity of his makeup brand Jeffree Star Cosmetics. We should have known that was our first sign that he wasn't gonna disappear off the internet forever. He was just gonna find a new money-making scheme to use on these unwitting children. And that turns out is TikTok Live. Just like if you were one of David Dobrik's friend before he committed a crime, if you're Jeffree Star, you're gonna find yourself going live for hours and hours a day, conducting TikTok battles, which is like a split screen game where people on TikTok Live try to get the most gifts given to them. They're like little emojis or animations that person giving them had to actually pay for. You know, you load money onto the app, and then the person who receives them can exchange for goods on the app or just take them out as real cash. So people are earning pretty comfortable incomes doing TikTok TikTok Live. And Jeffree Star, he may be one of them, but also maybe cheating a little bit, rigging the system. I don't see the appeal in this at all. I like watching live streams, but not a live stream that's only purpose is to like have me get the most gifts on the live stream. Like the point of the content can't be making the content. That doesn't help me feel engaged. Jeffree Star though, he loves it because he can just go on there and say wild shit, and these younger people are like, oh my god, because they didn't have MySpace to know that he was making jokes about ED and saying the N-word to black people on the street and sexually harassing men from a very young age. So that's who you're giving your big cartoon lion to, baby girl. And just recently, TikTok had their first ever Live Fest, an event in Los Angeles meant to honor their most popular creators on TikTok Live. So of course, Jeffree had to fly out there to make himself seen at this event where the average guest was probably 3 to 20 years younger than he was. But hey, if you don't have shame about looking like that, go to the party. Why not? Eat some fruit punch. And then cause a ruckus. You know that Jeffree Star could not just show up to an event that was social media related without causing a scene, and that's exactly what he did. Apparently, somebody at the ceremony touched him in a way that he did not approve of, which like, yes, that would be bad, but also you're a celebrity at a TikTok event in a crowded room. It's hard to imagine that Jeffree was really triggered by the physical contact and not just trying to really show out by yelling at a person, calling her really awful names, and making sure everyone with a cell phone standing around him was there to see him defend himself. This is the kind of scene Jeffree Star likes to start in order to claim that he's iconic and never boring. It's like, this is not iconic, this is histrionic. You have a personality disorder. Jeffree, this is a TikTok Live event. It's sort of meant to be, you know, a little bit fun, a little bit silly. Sounds like you're taking things a little too seriously, which I guess we only should have expected from the person who spends thousands of dollars on luxury clown wigs every year. Talk about missing the point. Like, I don't know if I've ever felt more embarrassed for you, Jeff. Like, you're basically at the equivalent of Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards, screaming obscenities at a poor woman who probably makes home baking videos for a living, all because what? She accidentally touched your stringy crypt keeper hair? You're in your late 30s, surrounded by preteens and 20-somethings. These kids live and breathe TikTok. For some of them, it's their whole reason for being alive. Yet you're still the only one who thought it was necessary to buy a brand new $4,000 tracksuit for the event. You should be there dressed like the actor who plays the dad at the premiere for a new Disney Channel show. If you had any humility in you, that's the modesty with which you would be wearing dungarees right now. But instead, you're center of attention, baby. Verbally attacking complete strangers while simultaneously trying to justify it for the witnesses with vague references to your past trauma, as though this is the place to unpack that. He said, you don't know what people have been through in their lives. Like, it kind of seems like you don't know that you're at this frivolous little nothing party, acting like it's the event you've worked your entire career for. Like, okay, maybe take a breath, sweetheart. They are literally serving buffalo mac and cheese bites for dinner, so there's no way any of this is that deep. But oh, I would be wrong about that. It actually goes deeper. As it turns out, Jeffree is there with his clan of people who he likes to go live with. As you can imagine, 5 or 6 really articulate, well-spoken people who look scuzzy. It turns out they're like rising through the ranks of TikTok Live, whatever the that means, by recycling gifts. Meaning, when you're on live, I gift you a bunch of, you know, expensive objects that don't exist. And then when I go on live, you gift them back to me, so that no one's really spending any money here. Yet that very exchange of gifts is what helps them rise up through the ranks, which seems like a flawed calculation on the part of TikTok. But I mean, it also seems like they're letting kids gamble freely. So what do I know about that? This is the moment that really caught my attention and reminded me of just how many horrible live transgressions have happened in Jeffree Star's short TikTok career. Later on at the Live Fest, a creator named Echo Flynn showed up and saw Jeffree and his squad and started calling them the recyclers. Basically, that's the term they use for when people are doing that gift exchange back and forth. And not only did this piss off Jeffree Star, it pissed him off in such a way that he began using the most unusual insult for him specifically to be hurling.
Chad, look, it's the recyclers. Hold on.
Yo, you wanna fight?
Yes.
Let's go. It's Jeffree.
Recyclers.
Jeffree.
It's the recyclers.
You fucking faggot. Watch your mouth. Yeah. Watch your fucking mouth. Why you being rude? Why you being rude? Why you being
Me? You're calling me one?
Watch your fucking
You're calling me one?
It's really shocking to see Jeffree Star toss out those homophobic slurs at somebody, especially somebody who isn't even gay. But I do love the layers of hilarious subtext and the inflection of Echo Flynn saying, "You're calling me one?" Like he's basically taking the high road by not spewing hate speech, while still making it clear that he sees something very ironic has just fallen into his lap. That's Jeffree Star using a homophobic slur against somebody else. I don't know what to tell you. It's just, if that isn't a case of the pot calling the kettle, what is the word? Faggot. I think that was a lyrical change that they did in the live action Little Mermaid song. What is a fire and how does it? What is the word? So pretty. Be a great name for a girl. Listen, I'm not here to debate whether people from certain communities are allowed to repurpose the words that used to oppress them in an attempt to take back their power. Mainly because that's not what Jeffree Star is doing here by any stretch of the imagination. He's using the homophobic slur the exact same way that the homophobes do, to embarrass or belittle somebody with the implication that being queer is inherently wrong or not normal. And also he jumped to using that insult so readily, like he internalized his high school bullies to such a deep extent that the word is swimming around inside of his brain constantly, just begging him for a reason to jump out and shift the focus onto somebody else. His use of that word is not the same as another gay person that uses its kind of ridiculous existence to, I don't know, lightheartedly roast himself for the way he screamed at the Lady Gaga concert. And he's certainly not using the word like a gay person who might use it to like shock straight people into acknowledging the anti-gay discrimination casually enforced by heteronormative society. For example, a few summers ago when gays were at the highest risk of contracting monkeypox and the federal government's official vaccination strategy was just a Notes app screenshot that said, "Good luck, Jeffree isn't using satire to give that word new power. He's leaving the power exactly where it's always been. He's showing hateful straight people that you can use that word as a sincere insult to attack anybody who's behaving in a way you don't like. It's 2024, people. We gotta figure out what comedy is. If you're gonna use that word, use it to be a silly faggot, not a hateful faggot. Okay, I actually have to move on because I promised my doctor I would avoid topics that are bad for my blood pressure. So let's dive into one that's actually good for my blood pressure. I'm specifically talking about COLONBROOM, the sponsor of today's video. I've been talking about COLONBROOM for the last month and I am excited to do so because frankly, intestinal health should be something we all talk about with our friends, with our family, with our boss, with the guy who's auditing us. There's no limit. There's no wrong time or place. And COLONBROOM makes it that there's no wrong time or place to get your dietary fiber in. This is a dietary fiber supplement that is made much easier to drink thanks to its smooth texture and delicious strawberry flavor. It's 95% psyllium husk. That's the main ingredient. Psyllium husk is a soluble fiber that helps support the health of your microbiome. Your microbiome is the good bacteria that controls almost everything good about being alive. COLONBROOM is the best way I've ever found to get that high quality dietary fiber in every single day. Why? Because fiber like that found in COLONBROOM helps draw in water and bulk up your stools so that it's easier to go to the bathroom and eliminate waste, which most of us know about fiber, but did you know that it's also important because psyllium husk is clinically proven to help people with things like bloating, diarrhea, constipation. You just add 1 scoop of this to water. I recommend ice cold water. It really makes it even better. Shake it up, stir it up, whatever you gotta do, it quickly dissolves, and then you've got a delicious beverage that's gonna help support the health of your body. Drinking an ice cold glass after a meal helps me feel even more satisfied and sends a signal to my brain that I'm no longer hungry and I don't crave the sugary snacks and processed foods as much. That makes it a very helpful tool for anybody out there who is working on maintaining a healthy body weight. There's no sugar in here. It's naturally sweetened with plant-based stevia. There are actually thousands of positive reviews from other customers like me who have enjoyed the way that COLONBROOM has impacted their daily lives. It's blended right here in the USA and it's ready to come to your door. In fact, if you're ready to start the new year off right, then you gotta get moving now because COLONBROOM is having their biggest sale of the year. Get 6 months worth of COLONBROOM for 65% off. You do not want to miss that limited time offer, and you get an additional 10% off when you use my code DiRamio10. Click the link in the description below and get your discounted batch of COLONBROOM before they sell out. Thank you so much, COLONBROOM, for sponsoring today's video. As soon as I started researching Jeffree's use of this F-bomb at Live Fest, I became immediately aware of another controversy that he's in by apparently being accused of doing drugs on his live stream, which I don't know if you're familiar with any sort of snorting powders from the 80s, but Jeffree is. It's from his hometown. The 80s is where he grew up. And let's just say a lot of people were familiar with the off-camera gestures and sniffling noises that went on during this live stream here.
It's not bad, huh?
I mean, it's not bad in the sense that I don't think it's helpful to stigmatize people who use drugs. Then again, it's not good to glamorize drugs in front of an audience of teenagers either. And it's definitely bad that he seems to be having a house party in a hot pink bathrobe, looking like a multiverse version of Halsey, who has never had a single glass of water in her life. Dehydrated Halsey. I think the most annoying part about Jeffree Star seemingly doing coke on his live stream is how cool he probably thinks it makes him look. He said, "Good stuff, right? Allergies." As though that's not enough of a dog whistle for every college sophomore in a creative writing class to know exactly what you're doing in there. And now they think you're cool, you're edgy, you're corroding the soft tissue of your nasal passages. And who are all of these people always hanging around in Jeffree Star's kitchen? If I had $1 million mansion, I would not want it to be crawling with every TikTok influencer and Urban Decay makeup artist in the tri-state area. Get the out of my house. This isn't the West Wing of Hot Topics corporate headquarters. I'm gonna be cleaning up full coverage foundation, transfer smears, and broken acrylic nails until daybreak. The next day, Jeffree Star put out a video to be like, everyone thought I was doing drugs, but look. This, and he had like a phone case with a sticker that looks like a little baggie of, you know, on the back. And he's like, look it, I can explain it. This is a sticker. And it's like, we didn't even see that sticker. You know that you're not explaining anything. You're just trying to talk about the thing that everyone's talking about. Like, he intentionally answered to the accusation in a way that did not dispel the accusation, so that the people who are strongly against the use of that substance will continue to like him and forgive him or accept the excuse, while everyone else will be like, we know what you're doing. Allergies, right? Yeah, I'm allergic to your bullshit, Jeffree Star, and I don't think you're cool. I do think that you're embarrassing and cringy. He goes on live streams and it's like all bets are off, because one thing Jeffree Star loves to do is respond to the energy of a crowd. It's what made him so much fun to watch back on Warped Tour. That's sarcasm. I don't think that was fun. It seemed sweaty in there. Regardless, once you start gassing up Jeffree Star, he's likely to act a fool, and act a fool he did on this day in a Target.
The building.
Yeah, let's
Should
go.
I get this big ball? You guys know I love big balls.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even think. Oh, I want that big Ferrero.
Hey, can you get one all the way in the back?
All the way in the back, please.
We're gonna need to clean up in the seasonal treats aisle. It looks like somebody took 2 Swiffer wet jet handles and stuck them inside of an adult diaper. Oh, no, that's just an almost 40-year-old man crawling on the dirty ground in order to impress the children watching his live stream. Coupled with a classic 12-year-old joke. You know I love big balls, like we know. And if you didn't know, Jeffree will remind you, because he's frequently claiming to this day that he's often secretly pursued for sex by closeted NFL players and major players in the hip-hop community. And at the risk of sounding judgmental, I just don't think Jeffree Star has enough physically attractive attributes to draw in a statistically significant number of people from any professional field. Like, really? The big celebrities who live in the closet want the Hot Topic pick-me gay who looks physically cold to the touch? If you say so. I don't know. Listen, there are most likely hundreds of rappers or actors or athletes who are more attracted to men on the down low than they were willing to admit. And sure, maybe 1 or 2 of those guys happen to be prone to fetishizing creepy Peter Pan in his rich stay-at-home mom wardrobe, but no, I don't think half of Kanye's entourage wants to get with him whenever they're in town. And even if they did, couldn't they just go find an unsupervised cornfield scarecrow and rub their up against that for the same effect? And even if performatively straight famous men were lusting after good old angry Jeff, even remotely as often as he implies, I don't think that's the flex that he thinks it is. Like, how is it that you keep finding yourself as the object of desire for people who have secret proclivities and shame-based guilt? If Jeffree Star is really the whole, healed, and peaceful individual that he's often claiming to be, then how is it that so many powerful men want to drag him back into the closet? Are they just misunderstanding the the expression about having a skeleton in there. If you ask me, this lore about betting straight men all the time is just another fictitious aspect in the backstory that Jeffree Star has created for himself. And I would be surprised if even one person with more fame or influence than Jeffree Star has himself is regularly propositioning him for sex. The D-listers want to sleep with C-listers, and the C-listers lie about sleeping with the A-listers for street credit. Isn't that how it works? Like, no, you can't prove that Kanye West wanted to you, but boy, it sure does lend you a lot of clout to say so, doesn't it? Truly cool people don't have to brag about sleeping with a celebrity on a podcast and then be like, yeah, but you guys will never find out who he is. There's like no way you'll ever guess. He's on the NFL, by the way, but you don't know who he is though, but he's on the NFL. Which of course gets all of the internet detectives on the case to find out who this NFL player is, who most likely doesn't exist. Also, Jeffree can then milk the situation even further on the next podcast. He's like, no, seriously, you guys are never gonna find out. It's called non-disclosure agreements exist for a reason. And the kids online are like, okay, fine, but we mapped out a timeline of your recent travel activity and compared it to the schedules of every NFL team in America. And using the geotags on your Instagram posts, we've narrowed down the list to the point where it could only feasibly be 2 football players in the entire universe. And both of them threw up when we showed them a picture of you. So who is this person? Are you sure you're not sleeping with the equipment manager? And Jeffree's like, no, he's a football kicker and a ball thrower also, I swear, but you'll never find him. He doesn't even go to this school, I told you, so stop asking. Besides, we should all be focused on real issues like the fact that child predators exist. Like, why am I the only one who cares about this? Well, you're not Mr. Bones. A lot of people care about that. It's just that they don't have to name drop more controversial people in order to make themselves seem less monstrous by comparison. And it's not like he reserves that sense of aggression for only the villains of the world. In fact, it's usually innocent people who get caught in the crosshairs, so then he has to double down on his exaggerations and hyperbole, trying to convince the rest of the public that he is not the antagonist of this narrative. This was the case recently when Jeffree invited a whole bunch of TikTok influencers, I'm telling you, he's all in on this TikTok thing for now, out to his store in Wyoming where he sells both makeup and meat. And one such person, Charlie, she's the mom of a family TikTok channel called 7Blended, was going live, and apparently this really pissed off Jeffree. He says it's because she was drunk and harassing and touching him, which, as we saw in the first clip, is something he desperately hates. So he is on his live stream and takes it upon himself to very publicly humiliate this person, who the rest of the internet quickly found out who it was he was talking about. Charlie's young daughter was there too, and she felt clearly embarrassed by apparently having a mom who was angering Jeffree Star with her fangirl behavior. But that's really not gonna come through in this clip alone.
I'm on camera. I'm on live, girl. Okay. Yo, someone is drunk harassing us. They're like, don't tap me like a dog, Miss Thing. Okay, it's giving human space. Don't walk up to us like that, girl. You're gonna get beat. Y'all, if you've never met someone before, don't touch them. That's my only rule. If you've never met someone before, do not touch them. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, learn human space. And if you don't know about human space, my Beretta will show you.
Clearly, Jeffree is very protective of his personal space, which is fine. We now know that if a stranger so much as taps him on the shoulder without permission, it feels to him like an act of violence. And Jeffree Star just doesn't put up with violence in his store, which is why he threatened to hurt that person with a machine gun. You know, using one of the many custom firearms in his huge, terrifying collection of weapons. Later on, after basically feeling too embarrassed to stick around after her daughter's like, people want you to stop fangirling, Charlie went on live to defend herself, saying, I was not drunk. I don't know why he's saying that I'm someone who's never met him, since he personally invited me and my daughter out there. We had seen each other on TikTok Live several times, and I wasn't there for no reason. She also didn't seem to touch him. She's like, I don't remember touching him in any way. Like, I don't know why he was saying all of that. And it's true. We see from other angles, like on Charlie's live herself, that it really didn't play out in this like annoying thing that what's his name made it seem like it was. I think Jeffree was just mad that someone else was doing a live stream from his event other than him, because she did seem to be the only other person going live. And for, I don't know TikTok, but it seems like that was a violation of his trust in some way. So people, including the 7Blended husband, are in Jeffree's live stream next, I guess the next day, telling him he should apologize to his wife and calling him out for basically lying and making her seem like she was drunk when she wasn't. And you do not want to call out Jeffree Star in his own live chat, okay? he will start freaking out.
Unless you apologize to me and Shauna and Barb's and everyone else you've been running your gums about today, bitch.
Me?
Keep your name in my mouth.
No, he's talking about somebody else, Anna.
No, I'm talking about top 5 in America. Recycling dumbass motherfucker. This app is full of leeches and vermin.
I was in
listen.
that live fest.
Anna, no one cares about your live fest push, bitch. We care about 7 Blend's bitch wife. So until she's gonna apologize to me, shut the up. And I ain't gonna ever keep her name out my mouth, bitch. You want me to show the video of your wife in the hotel screaming at your kid while you were at home? You want me to show the video right now? His wife screaming at his daughter. Embarrassment. Horrible parent. So no, I'm not gonna keep your name out my mouth, bitch.
Okay, I feel like we could sort of benefit from concentrating all of this unfocused hatred flying around in a single direction, because clearly something very high stakes has occurred, and I'm just trying to figure out what that might be. But what does occur to me right now is that I just still don't know anything about these TikTok live battles. I mean, other than the fact that Jeffree Star depends on them more and more each month to pay his mortgage. Other than that, I'm finding it hard to not only decipher what the objective is in these games, but also who Jeffree is screaming at from moment to moment. Why in TikTok battles is every person like talking over each other? How am I supposed to know what anyone's talking about? And how can I tell who's winning? Because right now everyone seems equally scared by Jeffree, and Jeffree seems equally disgusted by everyone. Without warning, he goes from insulting someone in the chat for what sounds like committing a crime against humanity, to then also admonishing the childlike adult playing this game for trying to play this game. And then he brings up the wife of the person in the chat about some separate issue where she yelled at a child at a hotel, all because she had the audacity to try and meet and greet with Jeffree Star in his store at a meet and greet that Jeffree Star invited her to at his store. Like, no offense, but he doesn't even know that person that he's had several pleasant interactions with. And she wants to make everyone else at the party feel uncomfortable by bringing this unhinged negative energy in the form of polite greetings and warm smiles. She won't get away with it. Jeffree, pieces of shit like this don't even deserve your Beretta. You could just lock them in the back office and live stream them while they starve to death. I'm on your side because I'm awful too, and I don't like thinking for myself, and that's why we're best friends. Jeffree Star's main tactic I find is diversion and deflection. Like, all of a sudden, you want me to show this video I have of your wife screaming like an awful person at your daughter at the hotel. It's like, why would she be screaming at a hotel in a place where you could see it? She's like, I don't even know what she's talking about. I think it was like he got some hearsay, so he just makes up that he has a video of it, like him and his daughter were arguing, so he embellishes it to make her sound like she's a terrible parent. It's like, you really just think you win the argument by having the most violent expression in your voice? Like, it's embarrassing that he would even bring that up, because later Charlie is like, I was not drunk, I don't know what he's talking about. Like, I would love to see the video he's talking about because I did not do that. I feel like Jeffree Star has this very Trump-like philosophy that if you win the argument, you get to control the narrative. And he wins the argument just by stonewalling everybody else, by acting like he has something that he doesn't, and just using curses and swears to make people feel like too intimidated to speak. It's something that he's had a problem with before, and it keeps coming up in these TikTok live battles. For example, Trisha Paytas had a falling out with Jeffree Star a few years ago after a Vegas trip where she thought she had a great time and made a vlog about how much fun she had with Jeffree, only to find out they were making fun of her behind her back. This was confirmed by Jeffree Star's wig stylist, who went on a very misogynistic rant, which turned the narrative against Jeffree and his friends, so Jeffree had to go and pretend to fire this wig stylist. He really did not, and hired him back, and really made Jeffree look bad, while Trisha gained sympathy because she was sobbing, feeling like she was friends with these people, and then she left the Vegas trip early because she felt so alienated. Now, cut to years later, somebody asks Trisha about Jeffree on a podcast, and she basically says, oh, I don't know why we even had a falling out. Like, it was fine. Who even remembers that kind of thing? Which is doing him a favor, because she's not explicitly mentioning all of the shitty behavior him and his friends exhibited towards her. She's just trying to take the high road here, and Jeffree Star slid right into the low road on a ice luge. Because now all of a sudden, he's the victim because she did not mention all of the mean things that he did. She's pretending that she doesn't remember specifically how awful he was to her. This will not stand.
Sometimes I forget.
You don't remember if we had beef? You don't remember how we had a falling out? Literally made up the most vicious lies about me and tried to ruin my life. And at the time, everyone was bored and people entertained her lies. It was so horrible for my mental health. And this bitch says she don't remember. She don't remember. Oh, but she has a kid now. She's healed. No, she's awful. She's an evil person. This is crazy. She don't remember.
Jeffree Star's so awful to me on this Vegas trip a year ago.
I don't remember. You don't remember trying to ruin my life, girl?
Haters will argue that sounded like the senseless ramblings of a desperate rage queen. But Jeffree would likely argue that those haters are wrong and also deserve to die. You need to have an open mind, you see. Jeffree is somewhat of an artist, if you didn't know. So even when it sounds like he's repeating himself over and over again in a blind rage, he's actually composing a award-winning poem or song. It's called Writing a Stanza. Is super important if you're smart and important. While barely even trying, Jeffree Amadeus Go-Kart may have just crafted his next pop punk anthem. Bring the beat in.
You don't remember how we were falling out?
It was so horrible for my mental health. And this bitch says she don't remember. That's crazy! This is crazy. You don't remember. That's crazy! You don't remember trying to ruin my life, girl? She don't remember. This bitch says she don't remember.
Nice. Now there's finally an alternative music anthem made specifically for people trying on jeans at the PacSun in their mall. I don't need a size up, mother. It's called their skinny jeans and I'm supposed to look weird like Chicken Little. The early thousands were dark. So here's Jeffree Star seemingly confused about why he's even making himself the victim of this situation. I guess his stance is that, oh, she lied about all of that Hair by J stuff, even though his wig stylist confirmed it, being like, we did make fun of that ugly fat bitch. Like, what is he arguing about? And he admitted it by firing her. I don't know. Like, he's trying to change the narrative and rewrite history. And the fact that he's getting heated about it is very evident. Although, if you call him out on it, he's gonna pretend that he's just Carrot Top now.
Someone said let it go. Baby, I've already let it go. I'm the one that moved to Wyoming and got therapy and fixed a lot of issues that I was having because I was letting people get to me all the time. And just because I'm passionate and raise my voice, don't mean I'm angry. I'm a comedian, baby.
Oh, it was just a comedy routine, everyone. An explosive, visceral stand-up set that spiked his blood pressure and scared his dogs. He's a comedian. He's a comedian, everyone. Can someone go explain that to his housekeeper who is cowering underneath a couch in the living room? Remind her that it's a good idea to get the laundry folded while he's live streaming because as long as the camera's rolling, he probably won't hit her. Jeffree responds very quickly to public opinion. That's one of his tactics. He's like, I'm gonna address this in the moment before the narrative starts building on like message boards or whatever. So he saw just one person in the chat be like, oh, wait, are you mad though? And he snapped right into that, no, I'm not mad, okay? In fact, I'm a holistic wellness coach. I'm a divine, enlightened being, and also I teach yoga, so take that, you f***ing fat. I moved out to Wyoming. Like, I'm the one who did something that healthy people do. I'm out here on a beautiful ranch where I have fresh air. I collect guns. I hire people to systematically raise animals for me to slaughter, and I stand around in the kitchen and yell at my phone about nothing. And that's all real work that I needed to do for myself because I was letting people get to me. And that was causing me to act out in really bizarre ways. Speaking of talking about things that never happened or aren't what they seem, Jeffree has become even more of a conspiracy theorist since being like kind of immersed in this TikTok world. Believe what you want about some of these conspiracies. I'm not saying that weird stuff doesn't go on, but I think it's also smart to be aware of the theories that you're perpetuating and whether or not they have problematic roots. And also just like maybe presenting your alternative theories in a way that makes you sound credible rather than spacey. Moonman talk.
It's always the highest people up. Whether it's record labels, the people that own the food industries, always evil at the top, y'all. After all this time, 2 different countries land on the moon, and now Mexico says they have aliens that look like dried up, moldy little pieces of cake. And tell me you actually think this big, beautiful sun that is right there, if you're trying to tell me that's 90 million miles away.
Well, somebody had to tell you, Jeffree, and that big, beautiful son of yours begged me not to tell you how far away he moved, but I thought you deserved to know. He had to go 90 million miles away from Earth, and now he won't even talk to you. He's embarrassed to be considered a member of the Star family. He doesn't even want to share a last name with his father, given 7 a.m. Snapchat rants about the moon and which countries have landed on it. I mean, God, he couldn't even enjoy his own birthday party for 20 seconds before you started comparing his cake to moldy, dried up alien babies. That's f***ing grotesque. I stayed up all night baking that cake for him. You need help or you're gonna tear this whole solar system apart. You know that? Okay, am I delusional or was that just a Toni Collette quality, Oscar-worthy monologue delivery? Actually, don't answer that. If Jeffree Star got a positive response in the comments for saying what he just said, then I should be allowed to be a little delusional too. Listen, I'm not saying that I don't believe there is any chance of life outside of our solar system. There probably is, but if that's the case, then the slice of moldy cake looking dried up alien babies who watch over the planet from Mexico probably don't want anybody blowing their cover. Jeffree, remember, loose lips sink ships, and flying discs. So watch your mouth or you're gonna get zapped, buddy. I assume in this video, Special Agent Jeffree Star was directly referencing some alien conspiracies he had just learned during his latest research period of watching TikToks on the toilet. But without that context, he sounds even more disjointed. Like, girl, you're out here covering a wide number of topics. Maybe let's not drink that Red Bull first thing in the morning on an empty stomach anymore. Go make yourself a bowl of blow and see if you feel better. He's like, how could the sun be far away when it's right there? Like, I can hold it between my 2 fingers. That's how close and small it is. Ow. Jeffree has often claimed that he was, almost killed by the Illuminati. The Illuminati approached him. It's just like, I don't believe it. Again, I think that he builds this backstory in to like add some texture to his rather boring and privileged life as a punk kid growing up in Orange County who never had to be anything other than a little bit racist to make it through. So he adds these things where he's like, I am special in some way. I know things that other people don't. It's like, you don't know shit. Everything you learned, you just got the same TikToks we all watch. Like, how does that, if the Illuminati really told you anything, you would have known that.
Be free thinkers. Because they want y'all zombies. They don't want y'all thinking but for yourselves or anything like that.
Was that just video footage of Peter Pan when he convinced the other orphan boys to tap into their hidden human powers of flight and then fly off to start an island with him? And I want a list of names of every individual who went and traveled to Peter Pan's Island of Lost Boys so that we can bring those monsters to justice. Wait, I think I'm confusing my historical events with like a play that I saw. Regardless, the hits keep coming with Jeffree Star. This, I think, is the cherry on top of a very disgusting, moldy piece of baby alien cake. He's just on a podcast talking about conspiracy theories and then he has to throw in this.
And at the end of the day, Michelle Obama's a man.
And at the end of the day, Michelle Obama's trans. What are you gonna do about it? Conspiracy. Go to TikTok when you're done with this and type in Michelle Obama is a man and go down the rabbit hole and you come back to us in an hour. You tell me it's not the biggest cover up. The speeches before he was elected where he slips and calls her Michael, he gagged on the floor.
Michael and I also want to acknowledge...
Gagged. And I never gagged. See this?
Oh, weird. You did that and then I was the one who gagged. Funny. Seriously though, between Jeffree Star trying to do a bump on his live stream and constantly bragging about how good he is at oral sex, I'm starting to think this person is permanently stuck in the mental mindset of a 20-year-old trying to seem cool at a high school party, doing shitty drugs, and he always, like his whole career, he's been talking about giving the best jobs. Like, you're a gay man. That's like bragging that you give good handshakes. Like, aren't you bored from listening to yourself after all of these years? Like, I know plenty of gay people in their 30s and beyond who are way more humble than you, even though they have actual accomplishments to brag about. Jeffree just loves to shock the straights. He told Logan Paul on the podcast he sucked probably over 1,000 in his life. Like, baby, that's the baseline. Of course that's gonna be impressive to straight people, they suck. At this point, if you're gay and you can't instantly list your 5 favorite aspects of having sex with your butt, I don't even respect you as a person. That's a joke, everybody. Do what you wanna do. But just don't think that it makes you cooler than you are, because you do it. Especially not if the only evidence is that it leaves straight people astounded. Yes, straight people are astounded by our very existence. They're shocked by every little thing that we do. That's their job, okay? And it's our job to take pity on them and tactfully suggest a more tasteful way of doing every single thing in their life. Not Jeffree Star though, he panders to the straight sense of shock and awe, which in this case requires him to not only be tasteless, but also incredibly racist. And despite all of his racist scandals, he still has no idea when the conspiracy theory that he's touting to get a laugh on some podcast is directly tied to misogynoir. And misogynoir, as I read more and more over the last few years, is the term coined by a black feminist American academic, Moya Bailey, in 2010, defining it to describe the particular brand of hatred directed at black women in American visual and popular culture. There is misogyny, but there's a specific type of misogyny that black women are subjected to that is uniquely detrimental to black women. Like, black women, if you think about in politics or in sports, they're met with criticism nearly every single time they do anything. Michelle Obama and her arms, Condoleezza Rice, Omarosa from Donald Trump thing. They cite in one article Serena Williams being a strong example of this. Like, she has been called by the president of the National Tennis Association potentially one of the greatest living athletes of all time. And yet, when you look online, it's basically people comparing her to a gorilla or calling her manly and saying that's why she doesn't get endorsement deals. It's really disgusting. People criticize black women in ways that I now realize stereotypes them and perpetuates these ideas that are really toxic, like that black women's bodies are meant to be shown in a hypersexualized way. Otherwise, if they're not there for the male gaze or sexual desire, they are mannish or trans, which is obviously inherently transphobic as well. Then people will unwittingly dehumanize them by making these horrible comparisons to animalistic properties or the trope of the strong black woman, which are basically like supporting the racist idea that Americans have that black bodies are somehow more strong or more aggressive or uncontrollable, which also brings in the stereotype of the angry black woman, which can often be used to dismiss the feelings or invalidate the pain of black women. Of all of the awful behavior we saw from Jeffree Star today, this is the most alarming. This is the worst thing he's talked about online ever, because it just shows how little he's learned from the days when he was using horrible racial slurs on strangers who were black on the street. It's so alarming to me that this is not the most talked about moment from everything that I've seen online of him today. Is it because we expect him to be hateful towards black women at this point, or is it because people generally don't treat hatred towards black women with as much severity? This is like a topic that I frequently have to own up to in my own mind and question myself on, because I have unconscious biases and thought processes from growing up with generations of white privilege informing the customs or the beliefs that I was born into. Like, even though I think of myself as empathetic and caring and not racist, I've had to challenge myself on microaggressions that I didn't realize I was committing, or racist beliefs that were learned through my upbringing. It's very humbling. But these are like the insidious ways that people have to be anti-racist, and I just don't think Jeffree Star is capable of doing any of that work. This is not only an outlandish conspiracy theory he is sharing, but a direct offshoot of his own unique and subtle brand of white supremacy. Actually, it's not that subtle. I think white supremacy is the name of the concealer shade he wears from his own makeup line. He said, I can run from Klan meeting to cross burning and look, no creases. And that's got me folded over, baby boy. I'm done looking at Jeffree Star. He's making me sick today. What do you think of these TikTok live transgressions? Is he okay for TV, or should he maybe get some media training? Let me know in the comments below. Also, give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more breakdowns of TikTok live drama. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. Please do that, and make sure you hit that subscribe button with the bell icon. That way you'll get notified and you can come see my videos right when they come out, and YouTube can love the way that I do it again. Also, make sure you check out my Patreon. I have got merch, all this stuff for extra stuff. I already said notifications. That way you'll always be the first to know when I've got an alabaster foundation shade smeared on my bony ass. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you so much for eating these dried baby alien cake slices with me today. I will see you next time.